Hi there. So this is Revamping API docs and enhancing the developer experience. My name is Max Sadlowski. I'm a senior solutions engineer with Wise, specifically with Wise Platform, based right here in London. I'm also the CEO and lead solutions architect with Bento SMB. A very quick bit about me. I've been working with APIs for about 15 years after discovering my love of computer science in university while studying chemistry. In the last 8 years, I've worked with Shopify on their developer platform as a Shopify expert and architected and built over 40 applications for merchants around the world. In the last 2 years, I've aligned my focus to help banks and fintechs leverage the power of Wise's public API to power their international payments. And that's what I'm here to talk about today. So let's first set the stage here a bit. What is Wise? Wise is a global technology company building the best way to move money around the world. Over the last decade, Wise has built an entirely new cross-border payments network that will one day power money without borders for everyone, everywhere. So let's talk about that. Money without borders. Our mission pillars are to provide global money movement that is instant, convenient, transparent, and eventually free. For anyone here that has sent money across a border, whether it's sending money back home or simply just going on a holiday, you know that it can often be none of those things. So what makes Wise better? Well, Wise takes 40 different currencies in. We exchange and move those funds to 70 plus different currencies. And then we make those instantly available to people 57% of the time. I think that's really cool. And so do our customers. We have 16 million of them around the world. Last year, they used Wise to send 105 billion pounds. And why did they choose us? Beyond being instant, we're also completely transparent, always showing exactly the fees you pay and the mid-market exchange rate. Beyond that, we're convenient. The product speaks for itself when you use it. It's fast, convenient, and delivers a customer experience that they love. Myself, I've been a personal Wise customer and a business customer for over 6 years, well before I started working with Wise, and it saved me tens of thousands of dollars in fees. All of this power, though, requires a lot of engineering effort. Think about all those currencies, all those countries. Moving money globally isn't really easy. So we built a brand new infrastructure. Wise's global infrastructure supports all of those instant payments, connections to payment rails, handles fin crime controls, customer support, bank accounts, our mobile apps, so much more. For the nerds listening in, Wise is built on a microservice architecture, mainly Java Spring Boot with Kubernetes. We have 700 plus microservices all working together around the clock to power Wise. All of this is built and maintained by over 800 engineers and supported by over 5,000 employees in our 17 global offices, with teams in almost every time zone. Let's just say we use Zoom a lot. This infrastructure is the heart of Wise Platform. Wise Platform brings the infrastructure behind Wise directly to banks and non-banks' doorstep, enabling them to offer seamless, efficient, and cost-effective solutions to their customers. We don't necessarily believe that this is the best way for customers to send money international via the Wise app. We actually think it's within their existing bank or financial institution's platform. So how do we do this? Well, we built a comprehensive RESTful web service API. The Wise Platform API handles almost everything you can do in our apps via API directly, from creating and funding transfers all the way to receiving real-time webhook notifications when statuses change. Now, with every great API, it really is only as good as the documentation. So we built a really great docs site as well. If you go to docs.wise.com today, this is what you'll see. My goal today is to share the journey we went on to build this site, our learnings, and hope that you can get the help, hope that they can help you and your teams make your API docs better than ever for your users as well. So let's start with a bit of a backstory, where we started. Back in 2018, Wise Platform was just getting started. Our docs started out of necessity. We had a small team of engineers that started building our API documentation for use with banks as we integrated. This grew over time with just a handful of contributors. As Wise Platform grew, so did Wise. That meant new products and new APIs. There really wasn't much strategy behind our docs at this point. Get the information live as quickly as possible. As with many fast-growing businesses, we were focused on product and partner growth. Also, as we all know, engineers love writing documentation. So this was the state of API docs when I started at Wise 2 years ago. As you do when you start anywhere new, I wanted to make an impact right away. I had just completed my company onboarding, done some testing of the API myself, and I had previously explored our API docs. I had lots of ideas and I knew what I wanted to fix, so I went to work. Initially, this was iterative changes that could be made quickly to tackle those major issues we had identified. I rewrote some of our guides, I made the navigation better and somewhat more logical. I added additional content to round out spots that needed it and fixed some bigger errors in the content. While this was helpful in the short term and definitely made some impact, it quickly showed that we needed a longer term strategy for our docs. So a small group of us got together and started thinking a lot bigger. We started an initial discovery, and doing that, we looked at the broader issues and asked some more important questions. Who are our users and what do they want? This is an obvious question, but we made sure to think and write it down. Also, what works and what doesn't? Lots of feedback, but not a lot of it was clear. So we wrote that down too. We also took a look at what other players were doing. We looked at major API documentation players like Stripe, Twilio, Shopify. We didn't want to reinvent the wheel. Lastly, we thought, what can we reasonably get done? We're a small team, so scope was important to keep in mind. As we asked and answered these and many other questions, we discovered that there were 3 main areas we thought encompassed many of the underlying issues we were seeing. The first was collaboration. With so many teams dispersed around the world, all implementing different APIs, we needed to get more collaboration. We had just a few users contributing to the docs on a regular basis, and many teams in Wise had no idea how to access, edit, structure, or otherwise contribute to the docs. Discoverability was the next piece. Many users from all levels had told us finding things in the docs was difficult. We had amassed a lot of knowledge in a relatively unstructured way, and it resulted in difficulty for anyone to reliably find what they needed quickly without prior knowledge of where it was. Not great. The third area of our focus was going to be on expandability. Our docs had outgrown the basic foundation that was created for them in the past, and that meant expanding them was challenging. Adding new features, new ways of communicating information, and just generally updating the look and feel to match our impending brand refresh would be tough. We wanted to find a better foundation that allowed for easy expansion in the future so that we didn't run into this issue again. So what became clear from this initial set of those 3 concerns and the problems was that we needed 3 things. The first was to develop information architecture. Building structure that works for all users will increase discoverability, but also make the jobs of collaborators easier and helps to promote expansion through solid examples. We obviously needed to also rethink our technical foundation. We can't build sustainable and expandable docs on a bad foundation. And without it, we likely wouldn't be able to gain collaborators or solve the discoverability issues. Third, we needed to add some editing processes. Adding processes around how we include content promotes collaboration. When people know what they should and shouldn't do, they're more likely to add and expand the documentation. So let's look at how we did this. While we had been working hard to fix the individual items we saw needed fixing, when we stepped back, it was clear we needed to develop information architecture that worked for all of our users. So what did we do? First, we pulled all of our detailed API reference material from our guides. This information was previously embedded directly into the guides. The page shown here is our old Wise for Banks guide with reference to refreshing access tokens embedded directly in the guide in a non-manageable way. So instead, we pulled this information into its own dedicated area. As you can see in the top right, the API reference, this made it easy for our users to reference from a single place with a straightforward, consistent, and familiar structure. It also meant that everything connected to that resource, user tokens in this case, was together and available in that left-hand menu. I will note that we still needed an easy way to reference this material in the guides. I'll get to that in a few minutes. The next thing we looked at was the actual structure of our guides. Our guides were previously written end-to-end for the full solution that was offered. This was a good example. We had a banks-based guide, but the solution outlined wasn't the only product we offered to banks. As Wise Platform has grown, we've also taken on a more component-based approach to how our product offering is shaped, and we think of it a bit like Lego. Different pieces fit together in different ways to create different solutions tailored for specific markets and partners. With that idea of product building blocks, we worked hard to break apart our guides into smaller pieces and align each piece with our product building blocks. We still need to come up with some better names for some of them, though. Customer accounts with pre-filled KYC, it's a bit of a mouthful. We know that, but onwards. The last piece I want to highlight is that we had a lot of information about product agnostic features in many of the guides. This included things like how authentication and security worked, webhooks, versioning, language support. We created an entire section completely separate for these features so that we had a specific place that was easy to reference. A lot more went into this, but it was carefully thought out and explored exactly how we architected this information to better support our partners' ability to integrate quickly. We also aren't done. It's an ever-changing system as our product offering continues to evolve and mature. Next, we needed a strong technical foundation to support this new IA. Luckily for us, Wise already had some pretty nice tools available, and Stripe had open sourced a great tool they developed for their own docs. So to start, we started with CRAB. CRAB is a proprietary system built by Wise. It stands for Create React Apps Better, and is the foundation of most of Wise's front-end interfaces. It's based on a React.js front-end with a Next.js Node backend, and has many preloaded tools and integrations that we use at Wise. It's also maintained for us, so keeping our stack aligned with the rest of the org is easy and updated. On top of this, we use Neptune, which is Wise's design language. It includes many of the components that you see in Wise's interface, but also is extendable to specific use cases as needed. It's regularly updated by engineers and designers together, and when we went through a recent brand refresh, it meant we didn't need to do any heavy lifting. It also, as you would expect, works really nicely with our CRAB app. Together, this gave us a fantastic starting point, built on a stack that was familiar and in line with the rest of Wise, but flexible enough for us to embrace expandability and collaboration. Next was handling the content. Our previous documentation was all written in Markdown, so keeping it in Markdown would make migration of our content much, much easier. It was, however, clear we needed something more powerful to help us componentize the experience a bit. One of the sites we loved during our research was Stripe. They use a tool called Markdoc. So let me introduce Markdoc a bit. Markdoc is a powerful, flexible, Markdown-based authoring framework. It's both developer and documentation writer friendly, and is built to be extendable as you grow. It sounded just like what we needed. It's promoting collaboration, it's extendable, it's perfect for our needs. And I have to say, it was a great addition. I'm going to highlight 3 major reasons here as to why, but please know that there's many, many more. The first major benefit was the implementation of tags. Tags gave us an important way, or an easy way, to connect to our React components and feed in attributes and variables in a structured and non-scary way for collaborators. This makes creating pages simple with layouts, components, and format handling all through tags. In this example, the alert tag with a specific type allows for a quick and easy way to add consistent structured callouts in the doc, which connects directly with the attributes of our alert component in Neptune. We even included a copy button allowing users to easily copy the examples for their use as well, directly from this page. The second major benefit was front matter. This allows you to easily apply page-level metadata to Markdoc documents. We decided to use JSON to easily include details like search keywords and settings, menu mapping, and subpages, ensuring collaborators were able to easily adjust details right where they were needed. The third major benefit was its extendability. This is a great example that we implemented right away, was the reference tag. Remember how a few slides back I said we would need a better way to reference API details directly in the guides? Well, these reference tags allow us to dynamically add API reference and feature information directly into the guides. No more copies scattered across files. We've since added different types to this component as well, so that you can render the entire section or just a link to that section, with plans to expand this in the future. One final point I'll make about Markdoc was that the docs were great. It made implementing fast, and as we reviewed them, it gave us even more ideas on how to make ours better. Discoverability in these docs is really, really good, and it got us excited right away, something we were trying to do ourselves with our users. So with a brand new information architecture and a great technical foundation, we wanted to make sure that all these new structures remained in place while ensuring we kept collaboration top of mind. So we created a few editing processes that helped us. The first one was that we opened up the repo for more people in the org and helped train them on how to navigate the content of our docs. These are non-technical users, non-engineers, actually making PRs and completing changes to the docs. This helped get more people into the docs than ever before. We also changed our review process so that key items were being reviewed before allowing merges, specifically around the new information architecture and tone of voice. And then we also created a hidden page in the docs that helps collaborators easily get examples, copy component tags, and view formatting and structure rules. Altogether, this helped ensure that after our migration, the site would continue to expand the way it was designed without being too overbearing. So we built out the technical foundation, we migrated our content to the new information architecture, and we implemented our editing processes. Personally, not biased at all, I think we did an amazing job. I also want to give a huge shout out to my colleagues who helped make this a reality. While I may be presenting, I need to give credit where credit is due. So with all of this though, my review really only means so much. What was important was understanding if our partners, our users, loved it as much as we did. So we measured ourselves against our 3 criteria: collaboration, discoverability, and expandability. We've now seen our unique contributors triple from 23 to 80. We are also seeing more of those contributors come from teams further away from our own, showing our ability to reach further. We had exceeded our expectations of expanded collaboration. Next, we asked our partners what they thought. They overwhelmingly told us that they prefer the new design. They find accessing information much easier and are able to find the details they're looking for faster. We heard the same thing from our teammates as well. Discoverability had increased significantly for all of our users. Since launching the new site, we've also seen 3 new components, new expanded formatting rules, and an expanded and much stronger search system. One of the new components introduced was a Postman collection button. This was implemented directly by our pre-sales team, showing how we can quickly and easily expand our docs to fit the needs of partners and make integration with Wise even easier. We also set up a developer experience team who now own our documentation site. I will note that they're also hiring as well. So what comes next? We have a lot of ambitions for our docs. We know that we aren't finished, and some of the key areas that we want to focus on next include continued work on our guides and the structure around them, expanding the capabilities to increase discoverability and understanding for sales-based users, and adding more feedback mechanisms for all of our users. With feedback in mind, we want to ask you for your feedback as well. It's so critical. So if you would be able to, it would be great to get your feedback on both the presentation and our API docs. Best part is that we'll award one user a £50 gift card, so please take a few minutes to give us your feedback. We'll draw a winner on Friday, September 15th at midday. When we started this project, I don't think we understood the impact it would have. Now our documentation site has evolved into an important part of our overall product at Wise Platform. It has made integrating with our platform easier than ever for our partners. Our PM of our DevX team recently shared with me an interview from Jeff Lawson, the CEO of Twilio. He talked about how they are focused on a developer-first approach. And I think this really encapsulates what we're trying to do with our Wise Platform docs and the product as we continue to evolve it. I trust that the ideas shared today, our learnings and focus on collaboration, discoverability, and expansion will empower you to build a better developer experience for your users. Onwards.